They say it came from the East, the Chinese. We prefer to think it came straight from hell. The year of our Lord 1352. 6 fateful years since all of Europe was struck. Maybe it came because the streets were littered with feces. Maybe it came because Europe was so overpopulated we couldn't even feed ourselves. Who knows? Maybe the plague came because God decided it was time for us to die.
Ring around the rosy, a pocket full of posies. Ashes, ashes, we all fall down.
Wake up! Wake up! Stop yelling!
How long was I screaming?
The whole night this time.
How's Jeffrey doing?
I'm sorry, but he passed last night. God rest his soul.
God? God? It seems more and more each day that I don't believe there is one.
You're not the only one. Questioning your faith, that is. Rumors spread of many who've chosen to beat or whip themselves as penance for sins they think they've committed. And if they aren't hurting themselves, it's because they're hurting others. Riots in the streets have driven the whole Jewish community from here.
Is that Barry?
It is. It seems like he's getting better, but his symptoms aren't subsiding, so we can't really tell. For better or worse, it won't be a problem if he makes it out of this alive. So many people died during the first outbreak of the plague that they'll have to hire anyone who can still move, and what are you doing?
This will end one day. We have to believe in that. When all this is over, I want someone to know what happened here. Our suffering will not be forgotten.
Redness of the eyes, headache, fever, vomiting, all symptoms concurrent with Ebola. Did you get that, Doc?
Patient 50 portrays symptoms concurrent with those displayed by patients infected with the Ebola virus. November 13th, 2014.
It seems as though patient 47 passed last night. 48 and 49 are still in critical condition.
I need some air. I wonder if he included the statistics on...
Professor Prats, they need you... Oh, I'm sorry, sir.
No, it's fine. I'll be there in a minute. Wait. You're doing a study on past epidemics, are you not? Measles, typhus, the likes of that? Well, would you like to hear something quite neat?
I don't see why not.
Well, I recently discovered that one of my past ancestors survived the plague. He recorded all of his experiences in these.
Those must be worth a fortune.
Well, what I found inside was more interesting.
There are pages and pages of information showing exactly what happened immediately following the outbreak and after the eventual recession of the plague. I've done research on my own concerning similar topics in the present day and connected the dots. How about we start with the similarities I found? Disregarding clearly evident similarities of symptoms and causes, I've done extensive research on connecting points between the effects of each outbreak. You see, both the outbreak of the Black Death and Ebola affected the very nature of society. The inevitable spread of the disease stopped hospitals, schools, and churches from running as usual. And not only did it affect social features, but also the very people in these affected societies. Unfortunately, social stigmas were experienced by many. Those who survived the outbreaks were excluded from societal functions, and were never treated exactly the same way. This stigmatization was based integrally on the fear felt by those experiencing the plague. In my ancestors' journals, pogroms, riots, and fanaticism ran rampant in European streets. The social upheaval is also evident right here in Guinea. This past September, 8 officials and local journalists, part of a delegation sent to warn of Ebola's dangers, was killed by a mob in the village of Wami. In another village, Kuyama, the highest-ranking district official was stoned when he first mentioned the threat of Ebola. In terms of economic consequences, the stories of Ebola and the Black Death are frighteningly similar. Due to major loss of life, there were more openings in the job markets, both in 14th century Europe and present-day Africa. However, because land lost value and inflation spiked, neither employers nor employees benefits economically. Despite the large amount of similarities, I found stark contrasts between the outbreaks as well. In plain terms of physical consequences, Ebola did not even come close to the scale of death and destruction seen by those affected by the Black Plague. A total of 30,000 cases were reported in African countries. However, in the Black Death, 30 million died, a huge number not including those who were spared. In stark terms of death and destruction, the Black Death was extremely more harmful and widespread than the recent Ebola outbreak. In other aspects, like religion, I didn't expect many differences. Surprisingly, in present-day Africa, there was more of a turn towards religion. In a time where religion seems to be more concrete, without corruption, turn towards Islam and Christianity happened readily in the present day. Another difference separating the two was the much more international response to the Ebola outbreak than that of the Black Plague. In the times of the Middle Ages, there was no way information could be spread so readily across the globe. In today's day and age, media played such a huge role that Ebola's spread could be stagnated by pure human effort.
Wow, that's some neat stuff. Could I take a look?
Sure.
What's this? Tucked inside, it looks like the first page of the book.
Well, I haven't seen that before. I've been through the entire thing.
What does it say?
They say it came from the East. The Chinese.